The Homework Fairy and the Forgetful Squirrel. Once upon a time, there was a bustling place known as the Forest of Knowledge. It was a lively, magical world where rivers flowed with sparkling wisdom and trees sprouted books for fruits. The sun shone brightly in the sky, casting playful patterns of light and shadow on the forest floor. In this enchanted forest lived the animals who attended school just like human children. Among them was Sammy, a sprightly young squirrel with a fluffy tail and bright, sparkling eyes full of curiosity. Sammy loved to explore, dash around the forest, play with friends, and find new adventures in every nook and cranny of the forest. As the sun set and the forest cooled, other young creatures hurried home to finish their homework, but not Sammy. He would play until the moon was high and stars twinkled mischievously, forgetting about the homework that sat unfinished in his backpack. His grades began to slip, and while his teachers shook their heads in worry, Sammy seemed oblivious, his carefree laughter echoing through the forest of knowledge. Watching over this lively spectacle was the Homework Fairy, a wise, ancient spirit with luminescent wings and a heart full of concern for Sammy. She fluttered about invisibly, making sure the children were learning their lessons. When she saw Sammy's grades dropping, she knew it was time to intervene. With a thoughtful glance and a determined nod, she began crafting a plan. One day, Sammy returned from his forest adventures to find his homework mysteriously completed. Surprised and thrilled, he saw this as an opportunity to play even more. Little did he know, it was the Homework Fairy's plan beginning to unfurl. Sammy happily slept, dreaming of more adventures, while his completed homework lay silently on his desk. The next day at school, when the teacher asked questions about the homework, Sammy stuttered and stumbled. He didn't know the answers because he hadn't done the work himself. His classmates giggled, and Sammy's face turned as red as the autumn leaves. It was the first time he felt the sting of neglecting his responsibilities. With his head hung low, Sammy finally met the Homework Fairy. She gently explained that the magically completed homework was her doing. She told him that homework wasn't a chore to be avoided, but a step towards learning and growing. Sammy listened, tears welling in his eyes, realizing his mistake and promising to be more diligent. From that day forward, Sammy was a changed squirrel. He found a balance between his playtime and homework. His tiny desk was no longer piled with untouched books, and his backpack was no longer filled with unfinished work. He took responsibility, and his grades began to improve. The Forest of Knowledge continued to buzz with its lively energy, and Sammy, with his renewed spirit, contributed to it. He played, he explored, but he also studied. Sammy proved that you could have fun and be responsible at the same time. The Homework Fairy watched from a distance, a warm smile on her face, as the young squirrel she helped grow continued to learn and thrive, making the Forest of Knowledge a little wiser, a little happier every day. And so they all lived and learned happily ever after.